Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Rinda Emick, and I'm really, really pumped to have this guest here. I sent him a text the other day, and I'm like, why haven't we podcasted yet? It's definitely my fault, not yours, Doron. But this is my guest, Doron Levi. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to get to some nitty gritty about what you're doing. I'm super, super excited to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me, Rinda.
So let's talk a little bit about. So I kind of know a little bit about your background or what you're working on right now, but I'd love for you to share kind of what got you into real estate and development and that kind of stuff.
Oh wow. So in essence, on a really really high level, it's a career change, right? Like I used to build and sell companies before this, like seven-figure service companies, and I just had a change of heart over some personal loss. I lost my dad. It was very sudden, and it made me really deflect on me being a family man, on doing things different. I think that anybody listening to this, and I know you probably feel the same as well, that our parents, right? They know that we try to kind of change or not repeat what we feel were our parents' mistakes with our kids, right? We try to I don't want to say do things better, because my parents did whatever they could under the circumstances of their life, right? And I'm sure yours and everyone else did their best, but sometimes as a kid you don't really quite understand things. So my dad was just not present. He wasn't a bad guy. He was just providing, right? But he was never around. He never even taught me how to ride a bicycle. I know it sounds sad. It's not a sob story, but I just kind of was thrown into the reality of I'm kind of being like him. I had two kids back then, and now I have three. But I said it really, the sudden death of him, like it just completely rattled me, and it made me a mind shift on just my career. And I said I don't want to do this anymore, so I kind of needed to reinvent myself. And I basically looked at my resources, and I said, okay, I have a good amount of capital, because I was fortunate enough to be able to sell companies. I have a fairly good amount of knowledge about business from doing what I'm doing, and I'm like, let me try to see what's the most I can do with my resources. So instead of just looking at things like say ROI as investors that we look at, I was looking at it more as an ROT, like return on time. Because I wasn't young, right? And God knows time just keeps moving, right? So I was just looking at it from an ROT standpoint of what's the most I can do with my resources over the least amount of time. So I didn't really know a whole lot about real estate. I owned a couple of properties because you know I heard it's a good investment to have rental properties, but just a couple of single family residents, nothing too much. And I'm like, this multifamily thing looked like something I can do and I can scale, which was always something in my mind. Like I know how to scale, right? I've been scaling things for the past 12 years. So that's kind of what brought me into the multifamily world.
Awesome. Yeah, I love the return on time. Oh my goodness gracious. Like, and at a pivotal moment in your life, and then you go, okay, well, how do I get a better return on my time? And it's funny because a lot of people start really with just like the single family space, and even just thinking through multifamily, you're already scaling, right? Like getting into multifamily instead of single family. So that's really cool. So what'd you start doing in real estate when you first got into it?
So I as I mentioned, didn't want to do any single family. I wanted to do something that is considerably sizable than a single family, but I didn't want to go over my head. In a way, I did went over my head because I'm a guy that thinks that he can do everything. Sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. But I just went and I bought a half a block of warehouse.
Yeah. Start there. Just go. Yeah, here
How
you go.
about how about getting a half a block of warehouse and see what you can do with it? So yeah, and so that's what I did, and I knocked it down, and I basically subdivided it. I rezoned it. I did a variance to it, a very small variance. I don't want to get too technical, about it, but I made it so I can actually designate it to building multifamily. And then when I subdivided it, what I did after I knocked it down, I sold half of the land for whatever the whole thing cost me. So I basically got all my money back, and then I used that money as a down payment towards the construction loan
Mm.
for a multifamily. And then I built a 25 unit apartment complex on it. That was my first real estate project, like ever. Um, and to be full transparent, I didn't know a 2x4 from a hole in the wall. I mean, I'll be dead honest with you. It's not like I knew what I was doing, but I looked at it as a business. I didn't look at it as real estate like most people do, right? Like I knew how to put a budget. I knew how to run things efficiently. I understood operations very well. I understood marketing. So where I was given 12 to 18 months to stabilize the project, I stabilized it in 5 months, like the whole thing, fully rented, 100%, right? Because I understood how to market it. And so, in essence, all the pillars that I knew about business, I implemented towards the multifamily. Um, and actually, I was given 18 to 24 months to complete, and I completed it under 12 months. That also was pretty solid. And then I looked at the other half, and I saw that the guy I sold it to didn't really do anything with it. So what I did, I got a guy, um, and it's called. Have you watched The Sopranos?
Yeah.
So so you know how like the Italian mafia, they have a monkey which is basically a front guy that sits in jail for all the crimes that the boss did.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's in essence, it's the front guy, right? So I had a monkey that I sent to the seller to buy my, the other half that I sold to him, because I
But
didn't want him to know that I'm trying to buy it back, because then he's going to jack the price, you
yep.
know. So I ended up negotiating through that monkey to buy it back, and then the monkey bought it back and just reassigned it at closing to my company. So then I ended up getting his half that I sold him, my half, my former half, and I built another complex on the other side.
Another
So
25 units.
yeah, so that was the play.
Oh, that's so cool. What a cool first play, like in real estate. It's kind of crazy. I love it because it's multifamily is so much more like business, right? And understanding business, and people look at like real estate, like single family is like a rental. Like they don't quite like sometimes get into real estate thinking like this is a business, but when you go into multifamily, it's like this is a business. So you really came in with the skills that it took to jump into multifamily, which is really cool. So do you still have those or did you exit them?
Yeah, so everything I build, I keep. So I'm increasing my portfolio, and for me it's a long game. It's appreciation and depreciation play. I I haven't exited anything yet. I am having a little bit of a taste for the hospitality, as you probably know.
Yes.
Um, but I'm not quite ready to change completely gears. Like I'm idling on that, and I have some strategies and some things to maybe exit some of my multifamilies, but I'm doing different things and kind of getting my feet wet and seeing what I have a taste for. Because for me, I have to be able to get passionate about it, and I have to be able to, you know, um, not just enjoy, but to be happy, waking up in the morning. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
So do you feel like you have more time with your family now, or you're is this something to where you are bringing your family into these projects?
Yeah, so my wife used to be a stay-home mom, and she raised the kids. She done obviously an amazing job, and she's been ready to go out to the workforce, and I said, instead of you going working for someone else, let's just have you take over the property management, because I have a company that does the property management for my properties, and so she's basically now a part of that portion. Every now and then, when I get like a large project, because she has an accountant background,
Okay.
uh, she comes and she oversees like the bigger numbers and the bigger, the high level overview of some projects that I'm either developing or building. So I kind of incorporated, her into it. I enjoy taking my kids to job sites and projects, and showing them what I made. It's, for me, it's not as much as the bragging, as more like to bring them into my world,
Mm-hmm.
so they see, what real estate means for our family, not
Yep.
for Doron's achievements. you know and that's like super cool, and they are all over it.
Yeah.
So yeah, good stuff for sure.
I love that. I love that. So, okay, so you touched a little bit on this hotel and kind of getting into the hospitality space. So, what does that look like, and what made you like go from the multifamily rentals into the hotel space?
um it just happened organically. I picked up a senior assistant living in Philadelphia, and I initially geared it up towards a conversion to a 45 unit apartment building. And I actually already had a construction loan for it for that. So,
Oh,
I picked it up. It was 3 million, and I put another $4 million construction loan on the budget, to maybe, let me think about it. Maybe halfway through that construction loan, with my draws, they cut off all the Airbnb in Philadelphia. And
oh,
yeah, they did the same thing in Los Angeles, and they did the same thing in New York and all the metropolis cities. And so I was just taking a step back and reevaluating my strategy. You know, it's almost like my business sense kicked in, because I know wherever there's a void in the market, something is going to fill it,
yep,
right? It could be me, it could be you, it could be someone else, but at the end of the day, there's a void. I saw people dumping their Airbnbs. Like, I had a friend that had like 17 near the hotel, and he was just running to the hill, and to the hills, and I'm just looking, and I'm thinking to myself, let me try to evaluate the actual need that the market's going to have. And I remember, doing my thing as a developer, and running my analysis, feasibility studies, and all the stuff, and I realized there's going to be a big void. Um, and I actually, as some value to you listeners, I actually have, with the short-term rental and mid-term rental, I actually have a 3H rule that will give you a really quick analysis of the actual need of such in the market. So the 3H's stand for hotel, hospital, and a highway. Why? Because if there's a hospitals in the area, or a hospital, someone's going to need chemo, and relatives or family will want to come and support them. Most of the time out of state, out of town, they'll need a place to stay. Surgeries, God forbid things happen to people. Surgeries, um, anything like that. The second thing, the hospital, sorry, the highway. If someone's coming to visit the city, they want to jump on it quickly on the highway and just scout and just go, look
yep,
what the city has to offer. So that's a given. And a hotel is actually the most meaningful one of them all, because before Sheraton or Hilton, they build a hotel. They always do extensive research, right? I mean, they have budgets on market researchers like me and you will never have.
Right.
So if they decided that there's a need for a hotel in that area, then that speaks volumes. So sometimes you don't need to figure it all out on your own. Just look at the big guys, what they're doing,
Yeah,
right?
that's such a good
So
point. Yeah.
it checked. So all the boxes were checked on all three. A few hospitals, between Penn State Hospital, Temple Hospital, Children Hospital, CHOP. There's also
Mhm.
CHOP nearby. So I knew there's going to be a big, need. And so, you know, started a variance process, um, changing from a multifamily. It was actually a multifamily mixed use zoning over to a short term accommodation. And when I was able to get this variance, I needed a lot more money because now I'm dealing with converting the commercial space,
Yeah.
between a courtyard and you know, now I'm looking at this completely different, right? Like I have all these elements, like a bingo room, like whatever I wanted to do play A with, now I got to do play B with. So, so I needed to get another construction loan, which I got, another 4 million. So I was about 11 million in it, and yeah, and we did pretty good because he got appraised for close to 35 million.
Wow.
Yeah, so it wasn't easy because it's an historical building, so there's a lot to doing what needed to be done there. It
Yeah.
was a 3-year built,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's intense, but I poured all my relationships, my development relationship into, like, I have contacts in Turkey. I import stuff in Greece, in Italy. I mean, I flew a pool in from London.
What? Oh my
I,
gosh.
I kid you not. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
So
the pictures are incredible.
you've seen the pictures. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I
Appreciate it.
saw Birdie's videos walking through, and I was like, "Oh my gosh." I don't know if I've ever stayed somewhere like that. It's, like, quite incredible.
Thank you, thank you. It's really like you're walking in Europe. You don't feel like you know, you're in the U.S. And the restaurants came up very well. Really good reviews on the restaurant. So there's also like 2 bars and restaurants over there. And I put in a spa and a gym. It's a lot, but yeah, I mean it exceeded anything I could have imagined. Where I think you understand it when you're passionate about something and you pouring your heart into
Mhm.
it shows, and vice versa. When you don't, it also shows, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, man, it was featured in the New York Times magazine.
Really?
Yeah, as a must see. Yeah.
Oh, man. So we will link the hotel link in the description, but tell everybody the name of it.
Oh, Anna and Belle.
And
Anna and
and
Belle. It's actually two sisters that died over there. It used to be a women sanctuary before it was a senior assisted living. Yeah, in the 18th century. So it's to honor their memory. You know, I
wow.
did. Yeah. So it's good
Oh,
stuff.
that's so awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna have to visit at some point. That's so great.
Yeah.
So so how are you liking that space versus the multifamily, like the 25 units?
Oh my God. Well, listen. You got to be careful what you wish for sometimes.
Yep.
It's a lot. It's a lot, and it's a lot of moving parts, right? It's like it is a breathing, drinking, eating, sleeping business. With all the commercial components there, it's not just like a property management. There's
Sure.
a lot of elements to it. There's a lot of PR. There's a lot of pro forma numbers that you have to meet. There's a lot of margin lines. There's a lot of payroll. There's just a lot, and so far we're exceeding. Uh, I mean, over 40% all the projections on our first quarter, which is the slow. If you
Yeah.
think about it, the winter's a slow
Yep.
season, so it really makes us wonder how the busy season is going to look like. Because in the piano bar, we actually had to take the piano because we were running out of places to seat people,
Wow.
and I had to open an area into the pool area, into the terrace to put more seats, because there was like so much demand that we couldn't even seat people. I mean, the big restaurant's about 68 seats. The piano bar is about 25, I think, or 26, and now it's over 43 because
Wow.
we had to expand it. And I'm still learning. Full transparency, I never owned a bar, I never owned a restaurant, I never did it. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of science to it, between knowing where your profits are, because on food they're like 10%, on rooms they're 40%, right? Understanding the synergy between all your commercial components.
Mm,
Like a lot of people will actually come to the restaurant and then get exposed to the hotel,
yeah.
right? Because if the restaurant is like top notch, and it's a chef restaurant, it's a Mediterranean cuisine, it's a really, really, I don't want to say high end, because what's a high end, right? But it's not like a blue collar restaurant. It's a very as our friend Birdie says, bougie. It's very bougie.
Bougie birdie.
Yeah. So a lot of food critics are just raving about it, and it drives a lot of food traffic, and it's even things, I swear to you, Rinda, I can't make this stuff up, that I've learned, like the temperature. If the temperature is too hot, people will not order liquor. If the temperature is cold and you're cold, you never notice when you went to a restaurant, maybe with your husband, you were always cold. My wife always takes a jacket with her
Mhm.
because she's
Yeah.
always freezing. They do that on purpose.
So you'll order a booze
Yes, exactly. So I swear to you, the colder the temperature, the more booze people will order.
to warm them up. Wow. Oh my gosh.
Right? Who would imagine?
There you go. There's your tip for the day. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. So,
So there's a lot of science to it. Getting the temperature right, getting the lighting right, getting the sound right. We had to put like soundboards for the music because you don't want to scream at each other. There's a lot of stuff into it. So I'm
yeah.
still learning, but I'm having fun with it. And so far, we're doing beyond our wildest dreams with it. Because
Oh,
people appreciate, authentic stuff, and when people
yes.
really, put the effort into it, and also the area, right? I don't know if you know New York. Like in New York,
I've
there's
never been.
this. Okay, so there's a Soho area, which is like the most chic and vibrant and best restaurants and all that. That's the same. That's the equivalent. The area where the hotel is in Philly. It's the equivalent to the Soho. So it's a very chicy place. So the target audience is there.
Yeah. Oh, that's so great. So you had construction loans. What does that play look like as far as like refinance? Is this private capital now? Like, do you have private investors?
Yeah. So um, everything is okay. So there's no simple answer to complicated questions. It's a little bit of everything. I have conventional,
Mhm.
I have private money, I have seven-figure cash of myself. Like I put seven figures in it cash, and I never do that kind of money into my own deals. But there's a saying that you make money at purchase if you buy it at the right price. And after I ran the numbers for you, you kind of understand how true that
Yep.
is, right?
Yep.
Because had I not bought it for so low, then I wouldn't have so much spread that I have now. Had I bought it for 15 million, you know, so what I'm trying to say, I guess, is that I was comfortable to put that kind of my own money in it, and I had to move fast. And
Yeah.
because here's what happened: we gave an offer, and it was denied, and he went under contract with someone else, and then he fell through because we were very respectful and honorable with the broker, and we had such a good rapport, and we were just like, listen, no problem. Best of luck with everything. If anything, if for some reason it doesn't work out, then let us know. We're always here to try to maybe renegotiate or make ends meet. And so we had literally a one-time shot at this, right? So we needed to move like quick,
Yep.
and it wasn't income producing because what happened? COVID came by and wiped half of the population down, and then the kids of the other seniors pulled them out because they didn't want their parents to end up like the first half.
Wow.
So there's no income.
Yep.
How are you going to get a loan, a commercial loan, on a project that is not income producing, right? So it's funny. I was asked to go and speak somewhere, and I said the number one trait an entrepreneur needs is to know how to pivot, right?
So so good.
That's it. Like, you need to know how to pivot. You can be a genius in your field, and if you don't know how to pivot, nobody cares. I mean, so a whole lot of pivoting. I had to do a whole lot of pivoting, and I pieced it together, and I made it happen because that's what I'm best at. I'm best at making things happen. Everyone's kind of used to me being the rainmaker. It's only because of that. It's only because of that. I'm not the richest. I'm not the smartest. I just know how to make things happen, and I'm certainly not the prettiest, right? So that's all I got going for me.
So okay, Doron. So you like I love listening to you talk because you're and gosh, I think anybody listening to you can really sense this, but I think you're a quick action taker, and I think that you're comfortable with like taking that chance and like having a leap of faith and then knowing I can pivot, I can make this work somehow some way, like even if I have to go from A to B, like mid construction you changed your entire exit. So what is that in you? How did you grow this? Did you always have this? What is that?
I'm telling you, Rinda, I went on a lot of podcasts. Nobody had such a good question as you just had. You had, wow, what a question. Thank you. Because you're taking me down memory lane with that question. Um, when I did my first play in real estate, and I'm not avoiding the question, I'm answering it. You know, people that knew me looked at me like, either he has you know the biggest cojones, or he's the dumbest person. Like, he never did a real estate flip in his life, and he's trying to do this, right? And there's a saying about there's why a bird on a tiny branch 150 feet in the air is not scared it's going to break. You know why?
I've not heard this before.
Because it trusts itself to fly.
Ooh.
It knows it's going to be able to fly, and so it's not scared of the branch breaking.
So
So what I have is, in essence, a track record not doing hotels of my life, that I always figured it out, and that's the answer to your question.
yeah.
I just always knew I'm going to figure it out. Doing the first transaction, a 50 unit in two pieces, never did any kind of, no construction background whatsoever. How? I figured it out. I trusted myself to figure out. Was I scared? Um, I was stressed a little bit. Of course, it's a large scale project, but I didn't thought that I can't do it.
Yeah.
You know, I had a lot of times in my life, situations with back against the wall and do or die, and I was able to prevail. So that's an amazing question. You literally hit the tiniest nail on the head. You were so um, um, you picked up on it. Very what's the word I'm looking for? Come on, I'm jet lagged. Help a guy out here. Um, you have a good sense. You have a good observations. You were spot on. You're very in tune. Thank you for that question.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I'm hearing you talk and I'm like, goodness, it's incredible because it's a lot of times people either it's not that they maybe don't have that, it's just that they let fear block it, right? Like they let the fear take them out in all different ways. And so I love hearing the story from you because I'm hearing something completely opposite of letting fear take you out. So I love it.
Remember, in owner, Pace gave me the mic. He's like, "Tell them what you said," and I said, "Fear is a mile wide and an inch deep."
Yes, you did. I
So that's
do.
what, yeah. So that's
Yes.
what people don't understand. That a lot of times there's just nothing on the other side of nothing on the other side of the fear, and a lot of it's smoke and mirrors, and they become prisoners in their own heads. And not to say that people need to be going recklessly buying hotels now, right?
Sure.
Like you have to do um, calculated risks. You have to take calculated risk. You got to know how to do proper risk mitigation, and you have to be very patient. And a lot of people are not patient. They want results now,
Yep.
and they are working their tail off, so they think that they deserve to make money a month from now or 2 months from now or 6 months or a year from now, and they take paychecks that they don't really can the business can't really support. So in essence, we're our own worst enemies, if you ask me. And once we understand that, we're going to work on the fear. We're going to work on the things that actually trip us on the way to success. Then everything's possible, man.
Yep. Man, amen. I so enjoy talking with you, Doron. It's so great. So I want to ask you, what's next for you? I know we're working on we are in the same mentorship called Owners Club. And so we're working a lot on our Mount Everest and where we're going, like our 5-year vision. So what's next for you? I mean, you're doing a lot in multifamily. Do you have any interest? Are you going to do a fund? You going to do anything where you're bringing in some investors or anything like that, or just what is it? What's next for you?
Well, a few things. You know, why just one? It's too boring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I'm playing with the fund model because I do a few things. I do the development. I do the ground up construction building stuff. I like the acquisition side of things as well, like buying things. I don't dispo, but I also do private money lending. So some plays are 3 months old, some 6 months, some a year, some 2 years. And as you learn through this podcast, some are 3 years long, right? So I don't just do one thing and wait. I
Yeah.
do one thing and then it's almost like multiple pots on the stove, right? Like I let this slow roast start, and then meanwhile I'm doing something else here, and then I let that cook, and then I do this, and then I bounce back there, and then I stare at here. So I'm kind of on multiple things. What's in my 5-year projection? is mainly focusing on acquisition because I think that's the right window of opportunity. Another thing I'm trying to do, which is very important for all you listeners to take under consideration when they strategizing, for things 5 years ahead or 2 years ahead, is that the market's constantly shifting, and
Mhm.
timing is everything, and you have to be in tune with the market, just like I did with the Airbnb. The market commanded something, and I listened, right? So multifamily had a big wave of bad syndications because of the high interest rates,
Yeah.
people not getting the return, so flooded with inventory. I stopped building because there's about 30,000 units in Philadelphia coming to market this year alone, right?
Wow.
So you always have to have your ear on the ground. It's never about what I want. It's never about what you want. It's what the market needs.
That's so good.
Okay, you need to know what the market needs. And if you just do what you want and what you feel you need, that's never a good game plan. So I'm going to keep having my ear on the ground and just listen to what the market needs. There's always need for housing. There's a big, obviously, flex, as you know, and other people are talking about affordable housing, right? Most of the models there, I personally don't believe in, and I will not do. To each his own. But I do know that there's a lot of new government programs coming out, and you, through tapping into different grants over the country, all over the country, you're able to make a hybrid of affordable housing and multifamily relatively in a safe manner. So my 5-year projection is basically to inquire a lot of multifamily
Mhm.
in my buy box, and start going into a little bit into the hospitality, not too deep, because it's a much more complex product.
Mhm.
Um, I'm probably going to get into another hotel in North Carolina. Um, so I'm not I'm not chasing the hospitality. I have a lot of people sending me deals in hospitality because they heard of the big success I had with the current project I did. But so I'm not chasing it, but if there's a really good deal, I'm not going to be stupid and not take it,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Like the one in North Carolina, it's like stupid good. It's 0% seller finance for 15-year balloon. I mean, yeah, and I got it, and it's like, Jesus, I think it's like 30% below what he was asking, or close to 40%, something crazy like that. So so it's a good deal, and it's a good value add. I can also force appreciation on top of that, and it's cash flowing very well as is. So never say never, right? But that's my focus. My focus has always been commercial,
Mhm.
hospitality, multifamily. I always have a sweet spot for businesses. If there's a good business, I'm always buying. If there's a good business, I just I just look at the people. I'll be dead honest with you. Like, I don't care what business we're going to talk about. They all have the same pillars.
Yeah.
All of them. It's the same pillars. And I don't want to say I know them backwards, but I know them backwards. Like, I'm not worried about knowing how to operate it. I'm worried about the people. If there's good people in place, then any business can succeed because they want to make it better.
Yeah.
you know so if there's good opportunities for businesses, I'm also always looking to implement my knowledge on good businesses, and have a few. I'm always open for businesses as well.
Awesome. So you are working on, we did not touch on this, but you have another development project, right?
Mm, yeah,
Yes.
I don't like
Because I,
talking about myself. I know it's a shocker for you, but no, I'm just joking. I
well, yeah, because so this is not, but is this multifamily though? Or is it
no, no,
just, okay.
no.
So touch on it real quick.
I picked up that land from a developer that had it from 2007 to 2014. He was trying to develop it between those years, 2007, 2014, and he couldn't figure it out. And then he's just like, the hell with this. And he just stated he house hacked it or whatever, and then he tried to sell it. And I pretty much in 6 months was able to do what he couldn't do in 7 years.
Wow.
Like done with the entitlements. Like it was like a stipulation. It was a lawsuit on the property. It's a whole story. I can tell you this story for like a good solid 20 minutes about the stuff that it was a bag of I don't want to say trouble, but it wasn't a smooth. And that's kind of what attracts me. Like I like the challenge. I enjoy where other people run from, I run towards. I
Yeah.
know it doesn't sound right, but that's where the opportunity a lot of time is, you know.
Yep.
So it's in essence it's a small gated community, and it's going to be luxury homes, about 4,500 square feet above ground and about 1,200 square feet basement. So it's about a 6,700 square feet, 5,700 square feet built. And it's going to be super nice because I'm gonna import all my nice stuff that nobody sees here, and people will always are willing to pay more for something nice,
Yeah.
something unique, something different. And people appreciate it. So I already showed some 3D renderings to Pace, and he was just blown away.
That's awesome.
It's a really
How
nice.
many homes will it?
It's a small cul-de-sac. It's
Okay.
only 5 homes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's something you cannot do the product that I want to do on a large scale. You're
Sure.
gonna go bankrupt. Or getting hospitalized in a mental institute. One of them. I mean, either or.
Yeah, what
Whatever's gonna come first. I guess.
yeah.
Because the product is going to be so nice. It's going to be so much attention to details. It's going to be so different. It's going to be really something like haven't seen in I don't know how many mile radius. Like it's going to be super nice. It's going to be something special for me. This one is not the quantity. It's the quality. You know,
Yep.
it's very special for me, and you know why? For us,
Yeah. Oh,
right?
it's so neat. So neat. What you're doing is awesome. So, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, or I know you're looking for multifamily deals. I know obviously capital is always something that we're looking for, but if somebody was interested in something you're working on, what is something they can send to you?
Well, my buy boxes usually is about. I try to kind of have a cutoff of 200 units. I would say probably in the neighborhood of 70 to 200 units. Value add plays mid in the southwest of the country. Um, Preferably creative, but I'm bankable, so I mean I can get loans. I have multifamily, so yeah, something in that area. And by the way, that project is in a rural area. Used to be, well, it's not used to be. Still, it's a farmland, right? So every parcel is going to have a nice piece of land with it.
Oh,
It's
lovely.
really nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. It's really nice. Yeah,
that's
I just forgot to tell you. Um, yeah, good stuff. How much time we have?
yeah. Well, I think, here's what it is, Doron. Like there's so many people out there looking for like where to put capital. Like they have money just sitting there too. And so I think about people like you and I'm like, you have a track record. You've borrowed money. You've used private money. You lend your own money out. So you're familiar with the opposite coin of that. And so I think if someone's sitting here thinking about, how do I get into real estate, but don't want to do the things, it's like, well, why not invest with somebody like you? Somebody who has a track record, can prove what you've done and show them, proven returns. Like, I think either if you're listening and you're looking at a place to put in some capital, or if you come across some multifamily deals, Doron is a great person to consider sending to or getting in contact with. So I want to just plant that seed because I know you're not going to say it and I'm going to say it because I feel like you have a
You
track
know
record.
me well.
people need to, hear that of you because you're bringing it here and like you're here. So people are looking for you, Doron. They just are. So before I leave you, I've kept you longer than I said I would, but before I leave you, I always ask something random, a really random question. So I'm gonna put you a little bit on the spot. You ready?
Yeah, give it to me. You want me
Okay,
to hold my chair? Am I gonna? Okay.
you're gonna be fine. I'm so looking forward to your answer. If you could trade places with anyone, living or
Mhm.
alive, for one day, who would it be and why? You could trade places with anyone, living or alive, or sorry, living or not living.
Who would it be?
Yep, and why?
Um, you're not gonna guess this answer in a million years, right? But it would be our gardeners. So I was raised in Africa. A lot of people don't know that, and and my twin brother at the age of 3 was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and the thing that initiated that is when he fell in the land that we owned in Africa. And so we had like a chauffeur, we had like it was the whole thing. We had someone that like a gardener, but just took care of the field, and he found him. So I would be him, and I would know exactly where he is before he fell. Yeah.
Ron, you're gonna make me cry.
Well, yeah, you're the one coming up with random questions. It's not my fault.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow. That's pretty special.
Yeah. So I would go back and save him from that 11 years of hell, because that's what started it all, you know?
Wow. Wow. I appreciate the depth of that answer.
Okay. Time's
Thank
up.
you.
Because
Oh
we
my
both don't want
gosh.
to start crying, right? So
I know. I'm
it's
like,
not gonna
hold
look
it
good on
together,
camera.
Rinda. Hold it together. Oh my gosh. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate your time. Just all the things. I feel like I could have 40 podcasts with you. But I appreciate you. You've listened to me. You've listened to me vent a little bit at times. You've been supportive in ways that you
I
probably don't even
always will.
realize. Thank you. So I appreciate our friendship. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. We're the day after Thanksgiving. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. And thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure, Inda. Thank you for having me.